Chris Arnade worked for years as a trader on Wall Street. In 2012, he got tired of it. He quit his job and decided to travel the country as a photographer, documenting the forgotten communities of America. He recently talked to us about his new book called Dignity: Seeking Respect in Back Row America. Explain to our viewers what you mean by Back Row America.
Back Row America is basically like a community I came from originally. It's a community filled primarily with people who don't have elite educations, people who, if they do have an education, it's generally from community college or a state school or a trade school. It's people who generally, well, it's the bulk of voters actually. It's people who generally stay in their town, it's comprised of people of all races. It's black, it's white, it's Hispanic. Yes. It's in all places. It's in communities in New York City. It's in communities and neighborhoods in New York City. It's in El Paso. It's in LA. It's in Amarillo. It's everywhere.
So you, when the Trump election happened, I don't even know what your politics are. I assume you're liberal, I guess.
I'm liberal, yes.
Yeah, okay. But you were one of the very few people from your world, which is also our world, or sort of urban coastal America, to raise your hand and say, wait a second, I think I know why this guy got elected.
Right, and even more than that, I saw it as a warning since I am a leftist. I said prior to the election, I think this guy could easily win. And if he doesn't win, then someone like him is going to win. Because what I saw, and I put 150,000 miles on my car going through the country over the course of 3 years, primarily documenting addiction, because that was my primary focus at the time, was a deep frustration in what I call Back Row America, and the part of the country that I thought wasn't necessarily being listened to or covered by the media. And that frustration was independent of race. It was independent of place.
Right.
And within the white community, what I saw that frustration being channeled into was supporting overthrowing the current status quo, which they saw Trump accomplishing that for them.
Interesting. So do you think it's changed? I mean, the phenomenon that you described is better known now, but when I flip through the channels, I still don't see a lot of people addressing it directly. Do you think the press is starting to pay attention or no?
I think they're trying to, but I think one of the things I try to get at in my book is that the divisions are absolutely so great that we almost speak two different languages. I call myself and you, for instance, and those of us who have that vast education, I call us the front row. And I think as much as we try, with good intentions, to listen to the back row, to understand where they're coming from, I don't think we fully get what they want. And I think when we try to, we often condescend to them. When we think about them, we say to them, your job's obsolete, your lifestyle's icky, move. When instead what we probably should say is, why don't we listen a little bit more? Now, I want to emphasize again, this is true. I spent almost 70% of my time in minority communities. This isn't a Trump voter phenomena. This is a frustration with what I call the back row, the working class, that I think that a lot of us elites just don't understand.
I agree, and it's gonna bite back really hard. It's really hard at some point soon. Thank you so much. I hope that this book gets the wide readership that it definitely deserves, and that your story is heard.
Thank you for having me.